And among those killed in the deadly blast that rocked Kabul, 2 were citizens of the United Kingdom. The statement was made by the UK Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab. He expressed sadness over the killing of these 2 British nationals. A child of another British national and others have been injured as well. Raab also went ahead to issue a warning to the perpetrators of the violent attack at Kabul airport. He ensured that the UK will not turn its back on its duty in this challenging time. Remember, this comes after Britain's Defence Minister Ben Wallace had said that the country would not accept any more people seeking to catch flights to depart Afghanistan beyond the ones already inside the Kabul airport. He also said yesterday that Britain's evacuation operation was likely to be finished in a few hours, adding that the UK was preparing to airlift the last 1,000 people inside the airfield who would be leaving the war-torn nation that recently fell into the hands of the Taliban. As the situation in Kabul remains tense, the clock is fast ticking, approaching the 31st August deadline. Remember, that's the time that has been set for these troops to leave Afghanistan. The evacuation efforts have been underway at a frantic pace. 2 Britons killed in the Kabul blast, 13 US troops among those killed as well. As far as the evacuation operations are concerned, the US has also received a lot of criticism in terms of what has been unfolding in Afghanistan. Now, in the latest, we have been getting you reactions that have been coming in from the United States as well. The chorus for Joe Biden's resignation has been growing louder with series of statements coming in criticizing the way in which the Afghan troop withdrawal was handled, the way in which the crisis has worsened on the ground. Let's get in further details now from our correspondent Anas Malik, who has been in Kabul getting us all of those details and the latest coming in. Anas, what more do we know at this point? Describe to us what things are looking like in Kabul hours after these statements have come in. The number of casualties has also gone up. This is 48 hours after that devastating attack at Kabul airport.
Well, you rightly mentioned about 48 hours since the Kabul airport attack took place. We saw an airstrike coming in from the US late last night in Nangarhar in what they claim that they had targeted the planner of the from ISKP of the Kabul airport attack. Kabul is today relatively calmer. It is waking up. It has in fact waken up rather. We saw a lot of traffic on the road. We saw people trying to get back to normalcy. Yesterday it was in morning. Today it's relatively better. We're seeing some traffic on the roads as well. But if I talk to you about the situation around the airport, there are desperate Afghans trying to flee, heading to the airport in a bid to flee the country even now. What I can confirm that out of the 6 gates of the military side of the Kabul airport, at least 3 are now under the control of the Taliban in the outer perimeter, not in the inner perimeter. The military side has 3 perimeters, so the Afghan Taliban now control the outer perimeter of the military side of the Kabul airport. Additionally, with regards to the evacuations, what I can confirm after having spoken to individuals who were present at the airport, that as we speak there are no evacuations being taking place for Afghans. So those who've left behind are left behind. Those who, regardless of the fact of how deserving were they, how much under the threat were they, they're now left behind, and evacuation operations will now continue only for those individuals who are foreign nationals, be dual foreign nationals, but foreign nationals or permanent residency holders. This is what has been yesterday we saw that this was being alleged, but today we saw a glimpse of that as well, and as a reason of which these escorts that were being provided by at least 2 embassies from a designated point all the way to inside the military side of the airport, they've now reduced as well. Molly?
And what lies in store for Afghanistan after the 31st of August is another cause for concern, Anas, with the Taliban laying out assurances. They've been claiming that women, for example, will be guaranteed their basic rights. To what extent will this regime be any different from the one that we saw in the 1990s? And can the Taliban be trusted when it comes to the promises that have been made, have been the questions that have been posed by experts? But if you can give us a broad sense of the reactions that you have been getting in from the locals, from the Afghans that you have interacted with over the last few weeks that you've been stationed there.
Well, absolutely rightly mentioned. What happens after the 31st? That's the talk of the town. Privately, you would see a lot of people being concerned about it because of the fact that the Taliban's rule in the previous years, or in the yesteryears, when they had previously been ruling Kabul and elsewhere, their repute was not so good. In fact, it was at the worst. The right word would be that it was at the worst, and that is the reason people are genuinely scared. However, on the roads, publicly, you wouldn't see them talking much about it because out of fear. But that fear is reflected in behind the closed door conversations. When you speak to them, people are desperate to leave. And regardless of whatever the country is, all they want is to escape, because they don't want a repeat of the 90s, where women were not allowed to work, where you could not listen to music, where men were not allowed to shave, and so on and so forth. Some of the stringent measures or restrictions that were put in place. So people don't want that. And you interact with anybody, you tell them you're a foreign national, and the first thing would be that can I get a visa to your country? And that is one question that most of the foreign correspondents in Kabul, including myself, we don't have an answer to that, because as I said, these are desperate Afghans trying to flee, trying to secure a better future. On the question of women, we've seen a lot of assurances being given by the Afghan Taliban, as latest as just yesterday, where they have issued an edict or an order asking the women to show up at the Ministry of Public Health following the bombing, and that they should continue their workings as normal. But despite of that, we haven't seen women turning up in greater numbers, because this is a change in the entire outlook of a society. Women who used to nurses or people who used to work in office, now they are to be clad in an abaya, in a full body cover, as per the teachings of Islamic Sharia. It has not been made compulsory as yet, but they fear that because as and when they get out and there is a disconnect between the leadership and the foot soldier, so therefore they can be mistreated. And that is the reason we saw the prices of abaya or hijab going up as about $200 here in Kabul in the past 2 weeks since the Taliban have taken over. So there is a genuine sense of insecurity, there is an uneasy calm, and people, regardless of how much normalcy is being tried to portray, people are scared and people are desperate to leave, despite of the traffic that you see on the road, despite of the normalcy that would be the semblance of normalcy that would want to be created. That might not be the case when you go in a closed door conversation. Molly?
Right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Anas, thanks very much for those updates. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.